listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to center and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I went back to didn't take biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning and welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can also be seen on the Martin Houston Show radio network on Facebook at Martin Houston fan page. Also, you can find us at Martin J. Houston personal page, Alabama Tradition, Tide 100.9 X's and O's Sports, as well as on YouTube at Martin Houston Live and on Twitter, Martin Houston 35. We're ready to get things rolling on this beautiful Monday morning. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation. That's 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business. So join us on the conversation. Let's get things rolling. And don't forget, if you're tuned in on the radio network online, you can always chat us up. Love to have you as part of the conversation. Hey, remember this, that we can't do it without you. So we want to make sure that you're able to be here with us. So go on, join us in. X and XO of XO Sports will not be with us this morning. He'll be back with us tomorrow, as we'll also bring DC Capstone Report into the conversation. But we got Mason behind the glass, pressing all the right buttons. Good morning, Mason. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great this morning. Doing really good, Martin. I'm excited to get into this show. You had a lot of good questions for us last night. I'm excited to get into them.
Yeah, if you don't follow me on Twitter, man, you need to follow. I don't do a lot there, but I'm going to start using that a little bit more to get some questions out there to kind of help you guys engage in the conversation even more. Help you guys kind of see how my head be thinking and what my head be thinking sometimes before I go on the air. And had a couple poll questions. I had a poll question and then just a general question. And of course, as you know, in the Martin Houston Show, we have an hour, Mason, and I usually prepare probably about 2 hours worth of material. So instead of putting a specific title out there today, I just called it Monday Madness because we can review the weekend, and there's stuff that happened over the weekend that I'm not aware of. That our listeners or you may want to bring into, and then there's other conversations around what I want to get to. And of course, one of those conversations that you're going to help us out with this morning is without a doubt talking about the basketball and NATO's this weekend. So we'll talk about that. But here's guys, if you don't follow at Martin Houston 35, you need to go out there and follow it right now and get in on the poll question that's running right now.
Looks like we Martin got disconnected there. Martin, we got you back?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, we got you.
Yeah. Non-title team, and y'all bear with me. I have ordered a new router, so hopefully that thing will be hooked in today, and everything is set up. So, but I apologize for that. But the whole which former Alabama non-titled team is the most disappointing / frustrating. You can choose whichever one of those words you want. Some people look at it from a disappointment standpoint because you just felt like they should have won it and deserved it and whatever. And then the other one may be the way they lost. You know, could have you frustrated or who they lost to. But it's the 2013 team, the 2010 team, the 2021 team from last year, and the 2018 team from Tua Tagovailoa. So, of course, we know 2013 kicked six, 2010 coming off of Alabama's national championship team and having a much more talented team, Mason. So many people still say that may be Saban's most talented team. Of course, this edition hasn't rolled out yet. I think this edition, the 2022, is going to have a lot to say about talent on both sides of the ball. This may be his most complete team where he could have a dominant offense and a dominant defense, setting records on both sides of the ball. But 2010, 2013, 2018, 2021, which team is the most frustrating? You know who's leading the pack right now, Joe? Mason kind of surprised me. The 2010 team more than double the other any other ones. So kind of surprised by that. I was thinking it may be 2013 because it would have been a three-peat and who we lost to and the way we lost. So, but yeah, hey, listen, I don't want to taint the voting anyway. So go out to @MartinHouston35 and get your vote. And then, like I said, get your vote in and start following so you'll be able to keep up with it. Another question, I call this a mind wrecker. So the mind record today is 2-for-1 swap, Mason. 2-for-1 swap. If you could pick any two, now I'm giving you a double. You get the any two players, former Alabama players from the Nick Saban era, and you have to replace you have to replace Bryce Young. Now I'm gonna come back and pick Will Anderson probably tomorrow. Just to give you a heads up, but you got to replace one. You got to replace Bryce Young, but you get to pick two players, any two players. Who are you going to replace Bryce Young with in the Nick Saban era? And if somebody want to throw in anybody that you could replace him with anywhere, anytime, you're welcome to do that. But love to hear your thoughts on those two questions right there on the Martin Houston Show. So we love to get you in on the conversation, Mason. Of course, you and I got to answer those questions too, but we're going to let our listeners get in on it. But before we do that, man, basketball is back underway. Practice this weekend. Some interesting news coming out. Nate Oates, good news for I think Bama fans as a whole. John Von Quinterly on track to return, but it sounds like he may be able, Mason, to return back to that 6-man role that he absolutely thrived in. And it looks like he got some talent around him that's going to push him to not just get better, but to be better when he gets back. And then Darius Miles stepping up as a leader, vocal leader. I don't know, you can always take highlights and make a guy look good, but his three in the highlights that I saw looked like they were falling. And then, of course, I guess you can talk to us a little bit about the top newcomer. We'll start that conversation, Mason, but if we don't finish it, we'll just carry it over into the second quarter. You and Joe had a chance to go see these guys up close and personal. What's your takeaway, man?
Woo, Martin. This is a good basketball team. Let me tell you. Let's start. We'll start with Javon Quinterly because I think it's important that's good. That's good news that we've gotten from Nate Oates recently. I got to see him. He wasn't practicing or anything at the scrimmage, but he was on the court. Moving around a little bit, throwing, helping assist practice and stuff. He looked. He didn't have a knee brace on or anything. He looked like he was walking around good. So it looks like he is, like Nate Oates said, right on track with his injury. So, like you said, by the time he comes back to this team, I think they'll be in a situation where he can just kind of slide right into that sixth man role and hopefully fit right in. Because the other guys on this team, you mentioned it. Darius Miles, I think, is stepping up in a big way. He was one of the players you could hear. He was constant communication on the court. Yelling at his teammates.
Before you go to Darius, let me go back to get your thoughts on Quinterly. Do you feel like Quinterly was like pressing and pushing so much last year that he just wasn't able to play? What explanation do you have for from one year to the next? Where think about the way he ended the year before. I mean, he literally ended the year before like MVP, like caliber player, winning the MVP at the SEC as a sixth man, and then last year, he just never seemed to be at the level he was before. And I've seen guys like that. I mean, there's been a lot of guys who they're starters, but they can't start a game. They need to see it first.
Yeah, I think I think you can definitely say that for Javon Quinterly. I think there's an aspect of that to it, but I think it also is a culmination of, you look back to his first season with Alabama where he was able to play, and he ended that year on a just complete tear through the NCAA tournament, the SEC tournament. So he ended that season in a very, very high, on a very high note, and then he comes into the next year. And you bring in J.D. Davison, and Jaden Shackelford starts to move into trying to take over a point guard role rather than a shooting guard. And I think he kind of started to feel some people encroach on his territory a bit and started to overcompensate for it by, just kind of playing sloppily, but trying really hard, if that makes any sense. He was out there trying real hard. He just wasn't playing great.
Yeah. So you think it comes from him, trying to protect territory as much, pressing is what they call it a lot of times. He seemed like he was pressing a lot more and sometimes taking shots that he didn't take as a sixth man and sometimes trying to finish at the rim when he would have kicked when he was playing the sixth man.
I think that's kind of the impression I got last year, especially with, because obviously J.D. Davison was brought here to play point guard. We knew that when he committed, he was going to play point guard. But you look at Shackelford, he was a two guard until last year. And then out of nowhere, he decides, I'm going to come back and try to play the one. And, that wasn't really his spot. So I think it was just, it kind of just got confusing who was going to be the point guard. And I think each guy tried to distinguish themselves in a different way, and it didn't really work out for any of
them. Excuse me. Do you think? I tell you what. Let's get the break here, and then we'll come back, get the Darius Miles conversation. That top newcomer that you almost jumped out of your seat when I mentioned his name. So they'll have to come back to hear that. And also, just to kind of finish up on the thing, do you think Nate Oates and them promised Shaq something to come back? And is that why he was trying to play that one position? So was that part of the deal that sweetened the deal pot that got him to come back? I mean, because like you said, he had played the two, it never been a one, but there was like three guys out there battling to be the number one, and none of them played it really well last year. And I think you have to have a top-notch one in Nate Oates' system. Also, as we go to break here, want to remind you, got a couple questions out there, poll questions out there for you. Bama Nation, we are going to get to some football conversation when we return. If your mind wrecker question for the day is a 2-for-1 swap, if you could pick any two former Alabama players in the Nick Saban era to replace Bryce Young. That's right. I'm giving you 2-for-1. Which two players would you pick if you had to give up Bryce Young in a 2-for-1 swap or trade? That's your mind record for the day. And then also, which Alabama non-title national championship team is the most disappointing. The 2010 team, some consider his most talented. 2013, of course, we know the kick six. And then, of course, 2018, the disappointing loss to the what were those guys?
Clemson.
Clemson Tiger, yeah. And then 2021, last year's loss to the Georgia Bulldogs. And think about that. That's 4 championships or 4 teams that easily could have been champion to add to Nick Saban's 6. Wow. What a run we're on here at Bama. We need you to get in on the conversation, and we'll give you a chance to do that right here on the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet on the roadways this Monday morning. If you see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, of course, give me a call, 205-886-8886. It's a brand new month, brand new deals, brand new savings from your hometown dealer, Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa, and I'm Captain Ray.
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa. Quality is number one. You got to start with a good quality product, but it's got to be at a good value to the customers.
Everything is about quality.
You just can't beat the quality, taste, and value.
And it's because we take pride in providing you with the best.
Good customer service and good food, good quality.
We want to make sure that we give that to them each and every time they come and visit us.
The sense of pride that we have in the quality, the consistency of our food carries over to everything we do in the stores. That's Taco Casa.
O'Reilly. Don't risk getting stranded with a bad battery. Our professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery does need to be replaced, we'll help you find the best battery for your vehicle and your budget. Don't wait until your battery is dead. Get it tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another very humid day today. A mixture of clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and storms around, especially this afternoon and this evening. The high today 90, tonight's low 71. Tomorrow, partially sunny with scattered showers and storms. The high 91. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabanas. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. So what are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
Shreveport's Comic-Con GeekCon returns this August. The U.S. Air Force's GeekCon 2022, presented by Pizza Hut, is back at the Shreveport Convention Center August 19th through the 21st. This year's guest list includes Scream and Scooby-Doo star Matthew Lillard, Scream and Riverdale star Skeet Ulrich, reality TV star Dog the Bounty Hunter, plus stars from The Walking Dead, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and pro wrestling superstars. Find the full lineup, ticket info, and more at geekcon.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Hey, don't forget to go check out Alabama One. Alabama One, your home for great loans, great products and services, great member service, great financial wellness. Just a few of our governing principles and pillars of how we do things, great corporate governance, and so on and so forth. So it is absolutely a great place to go. And hey, while you're out there, go check out the more trucks for your buck and more car for your cash. That's right. You can get the lowest interest rate as low as 1.99 by going with the 36-month term. Or if you're wanting to get that payment as low as possible versus interest rate, you can get that down to a nice price by going out 84 months on a used vehicle. And yes, don't drive off the road in your car. Make that your trade in. 96 months on a new one. That's right, up to 84 on a used, 96 on new. And that's all at Alabama One. And while you're there, check out Alabama One Insurance. Click on the banner. Go to alabama1.org, and you'll be able to access both of those great products. All right. Hey, yesterday, Mason, I had an opportunity to have a gentleman come join me at my church yesterday. A singer used to sing with Gold City and the Wilburns, his family name, and he's a Tennessee fan, okay? So he's trying to slip in here on my show this morning with a Tennessee question. What Alabama coach never beat General Neyland? General Bob Neyland. So so if anybody's wondering about that question, that's a Tennessee guy asking that question. And I think the answer is Coach Bryant. I don't know. I have to go look that up and see. But always glad to be adding people into the conversation. We had a Kendrick Spear, and I liked him a little bit when he left yesterday, Mason, because he was a fullback. But I don't know if I like him now. So, but anyway, go ahead.
For him, he's a Tennessee fan. We got to cut him a little slack.
That's true. Hey, I'm gonna flip the question on him real quick before we get into that conversation. Hey, what? Oh, you can't say coach. You have to say coaches. What coaches has not beat Nick Saban?
It's too many to name.
Huh?
Too many to name.
Yeah, that's right. We don't. This is only an hour's program, so we cannot name all the coaches that have not beaten Nick Saban. No, just kidding. All right, Mason. Let's get back to that conversation we were having. His response, even the Tennessee fans said, just answer it with a bunch. You gotta love that, Mason. That's a great answer. A bunch. Anyway, man. Hey, we were talking basketball with the break there. Real quick question. Circle back. Was, do you think that that the Quinterly, not the Quinterly, but the deal with the guard situation was part of Nate Oates' promise to maybe get one of those guys to come back last year?
I think it's very likely. I'm not sure either way, obviously, but I think that is something that Jaden Shackelford made very clear he wanted to do. I think
help his stock.
Yeah, I think he made it very clear that he wanted an opportunity to go to the NBA, and that was, his only real opportunity to do so was at the One.
Yes.
Yeah. So when he came back to Alabama, I think that was, that was what he was going to do, and it didn't work out. Obviously, we see what happened last year. Personally, I don't think I would have ever let Jaden Shackelford play the one guard, but if that was the only way to get him back, I guess that's the way it was. I think looking back, Nate Oates probably regrets that if that was the choice he made. But we move into this season, we've got just purely top to bottom talent wise. I think this year's team is looking a lot better than last year. So he has rebounded nicely.
Yes, and that's what you want to see, man. If you really think about it, I'm not sure that Nate Oates and Saban aren't running as close as possible on a track. Meaning Nate Oates is taking basketball where it hadn't been in a long time. Had a setback year, a disappointing year. Wouldn't you say we had a Of course, Saban won a championship in 2009, but that 2010 team was very disappointing in its results. And right now, if you go back, the poll question out at Martin Houston 3-5, it's the most disappointing and frustrating team that people have under the Saban era that didn't win a title 2010, 2013, 2018, 2021. That's kind of what we're coming off of last year. And then what did Nick Saban do after that? He went on to lead 1, 2, and was probably 1 second from winning 3 national titles. Is that what you saw, NATO? It's not necessarily a national title, but is this the team that you think can get us into a Elite Eight, Final Four type of talent? Way too early to make that prediction, but what you saw in Darius Miles taking a leadership role and other guys.
Absolutely. I think this team absolutely has the talent to be, to make a Final Four run. And I think when we compare Nick Saban and Nate Oates, I think it's important to, to kind of compare the accomplishments relatively, because, in football,
right. Mm-hmm.
In basketball, look, it's hard to win a championship in football. Don't get me wrong, but in basketball, it's a whole different beast. You got to win that entire tournament. I mean, it's 64 teams. You got to win a whole tournament. So, when you look at their accomplishments, I think what Nate Oates has done relative to kind of, the difficulty of winning a title in basketball is really, really impressive. And it's almost on par with what Saban did at Alabama. Obviously, 2 titles in the first however many years was very, very incredible and will probably not be matched by Nate Oates. But this is a team that can easily, I think, make a Final Four run with the amount of talent they have. It's just whether or not they can, kind of put it all together. And you mentioned Darius Miles. I think he's someone who is going to help bring it together a lot. He was it's very obvious he has stepped up as a leader big time on this team.
Yeah, and when we think about this, is national title even? I mean, if Nate Oates takes us to a national title in basketball, or our Final Four, is that not on par potentially with even a 2 or 3-peat or 2 back-to-back titles in football? Because this is elite. I mean, Final Four is territory this basketball program has never been in, and very rarely even talked about having the talent to get to. I mean, it's been a few times, but so I don't think we need to measure Nate Oates' success in the same way we do Saban's. And to your point, I think that is huge. And before we went on the air, Mason, we talked about some conversation around football that we're going to have as we get closer, and that is whether or not who's going to be the top newcomers or top freshmen, et cetera. You guys got to see practice, and I'm hearing about a guy, and I know I've been teasing it, and so I wanted you to talk about it, because when I said his name, I think you jumped up and ran a sprint around the building because this guy is that exciting. So talk to us about what's the most exciting thing you saw from Bama's basketball practice you got to watch.
Brandon Miller. Remember that name. I mean, that kid. It was unbelievable. He's got the body. He's got a body like Kevin Durant. He's so smooth with every movement he makes. Everything he does on the court is so calculated. He works through the defense like it's butter. I mean, it was really amazing to watch him work. I think he's probably the only guy on the team that I think has the green light to shoot mid-range shots, because every one of them falls. I mean, I don't think I saw him.
Yeah, didn't he have 30 points?
30 points in that scrimmage.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw an Alabama player score 30 points. I mean, it was unbelievable. He was just from one end to the other, he was just dominating on both sides of the floor. He's so lengthy. He's such a long athletic defender. He clogs up the lane. He comes down on the other side, and he tears through the lane. It was really incredible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. The offensive things kind of speak for themselves. In terms of, I heard that he's a pretty fluid passer for a guy of his size, and you hit it already. He can finish behind the three. I mean, he can shoot behind the three, and he's a threat drive with his size against the typical big man that'll be on him.
I mean, he was just
But
scoring.
he can finish and pull up. I mean, it sounded like on the offense he could do it all. But is he a complete player on the other end as well?
His defense, he was a stout defender from what I saw. He's very aggressive on the boards too on the defensive end. He was in there on. You look down anytime there was a shot going up. Brandon Miller was right down there ready to try to rebound it. So he is very aggressive on that end. I'm what he can do for this basketball team is he's got me very excited and jazzed up for this season.
Let me ask you, anybody else other than, like we said, Darius Miles, and they showed, like I said, I saw some of his highlights, and you could hear him, talking and encouraging the guy. To me, it was a very positive form of leadership, meaning encouraging the guys, egging them on, not in the sense of negative, but hey, come on, guys, let's go.
Yeah, he was cutting up, laughing, jumping around, bouncing around the whole time.
Yeah, and
one guy
go ahead.
Is Jaden Bradley, a new freshman point guard. I mean, that kid, he's like a pit bull in the lane.
Okay.
He played so hard and he drives to the basket so aggressively. I think, he struggled a little bit with actually finishing at the rim on some drives, but I mean, he was getting to the basket almost anytime he wanted to. It was, if he polishes it up a little bit, he's going to be a very, very good player.
Yes, that's awesome. CJ Watson said, man, excited to see this basketball team hit the court. Glad to see Miles take the step forward. And so with about 10 O's, glad to see someone be a vocal leader. It was painful to see no one step up last year. And then, of course, to your 30-point threat, when you said that, I thought about Sexton, and he said there hasn't been a 30-point threat since Sexton. And then this is a follow-up question, then we'll get the break here. Watson said, if he's aggressive, Miller will have to keep out of foul trouble. Is he aggressive but smart and careful, or is he wild and aggressive? What did you see? Because there's two different ways to be aggressive.
Yeah, let me kind of make it clear that yes, he was aggressive, but he was, I don't remember him getting a lot of fouls. They had referees on the court and they were calling fouls normally like they would in a game, and I don't recall Brandon Miller being whistled very often. So he is an aggressive defender, but not so much so that he's fouling constantly or anything like that.
Right. If you have good footwork, good balance, good hand-eye coordination, quick hands, and to me, it sounds like your aggressiveness is also not just the way he defends the player, but how he attacks the boards, which is something that we can use to have a couple guys who hit the boards hard. And because last year, man, we got killed on offensive rebounds by our opponent. So
we did. And before we move on, one more thing I really do want
to go ahead.
You mentioned getting killed on the boards last year. Charles Bediako has beefed up big time.
Wow.
He has put on a little bit of weight. He was looking pretty big out there, and he was he looked pretty strong. Oh, Angry Chuck, I think, is going to be a little bit angrier this year.
Yeah, man, all right. So you got us excited, Mason. So we'll have to keep that conversation going. Despite rolling the football season, it to me, I love basketball, and I don't know if I've said it since you've been my producer, Mason, but I'm a basketball player trapped in a football player's body. Man, if I could have fooled around and been, 6'6", maybe I'd been the next Barkley. But who knows, man? I loved basketball. And still do to this day, love watching the game, love, breaking down the game. And so much fun and excited that our team may have an opportunity to do something special. Jonathan Wilborn saying basketball is a whole different beast, and basketball, the talent level per team is spread more evenly from team to team, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, etc. Then you have to have the smaller schools that can even compete year in and year out, like the Xaviers and Butlers, and don't forget Gonzaga, who's turned into a beast. Even still, when it gets to the Final Four, you have to get past the Kentuckys, North Carolinas, and Kansas. That's true. Knowing how to coach a team to the Final Four, it's a tough, tough road. And can Nate Oates get Bama to the mountaintop? Well, It starts with talent, Mason, and it sounds like he's done a good job getting the talent. Now, let's see if they can coach it up, grow as leaders, and then execute on the court. Got the right style, got the talent, and I believe we have the coach. Will Alabama ascend to a place it's never been in basketball? We'll watch it and keep you up to date right here on the Martin Houston Show. Coming back on the other side, hey, we got those two questions out there. What's the most disappointing team of the Nick Saban era in 2010, 2013, 2018, 2021? And which Bama player, two Bama players, the mind wrecker question of the day, a 2-for-1 swap. Which guys would you trade out for Bryce Young? You can pick any two. I'd like to hear from you. Phone lines are open, 205-342-9904.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
With your Tide Sports Update, I'm Mason Woods. Former Crimson Tide linebacker Reuben Foster earned a tryout with the Seattle Seahawks this past week. Foster is attempting an NFL comeback after not playing since 2018. The former five-star has worked out with the Washington Commanders and San Francisco 49ers as well. The Alabama men's basketball team is preparing for its trip to Europe. The team departs from Tuscaloosa on Friday, August 5th, and will play one game in Spain and two in France. In other Crimson Tide basketball news, head coach Nate Oates says the team is hoping to get Javon Quinterly back by SEC play. Oates said the point guard is right on pace with his recovery.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza. He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. I want to remind you to go check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa as a great opportunity for you to make a great choice for lunch and dinner. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. The best option for you getting in and out and washing down some Mexican food with some great sweet tea. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. All right. Of course, like I said, I always try to do have enough information to cover several shows, and it looks like we may end up running just with the mind wrecker for today question, and we'll kick the can, give you a little chance to think about the 2010, 2013, 2018, and 2021 team. Which one of those was the most disappointing Nick Saban team that didn't win a title of those four? Right now, 2010 outpacing the competition. As I think many Bama fans got a taste of a championship in 2009, 2009, and Mason and was like, "Oh my God, we won it a year early. We're gonna be right next year." And one of the few teams in the Nick Saban era that lost 2 games in a season before losing their second one in the national championship game or the playoffs. So it may be, since 2009, it may be the only team that lost 2 regular season games as you think about it. So go follow at Martin Houston 35. You can get that question as well as the other questions. And the other question out there is a mind record question of the day: 2-for-1 swap. What 2 Bama players on the Nick Saban era would you trade for Bryce Young? We're getting that question out there. But before we move on, Curtis Moore II reminding us, Mason, since we had a basketball conversation going on the first 2 quarters, wishing a rest in peace to the great legend Bill Russell. It's funny how people always talk about Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player because he was undefeated in championship games, but very seldom do they say Bill Russell, and this dude won 8 in a row and 11 total and 2 as a player coach. So I don't know how we give Michael Jordan the greatest as based on championships, and Bill Russell's not up there. But hey, listen, it's all about the era in which you grew up in, and no player, I don't think in any sport, probably dominated their era as much as Bill Russell did his. So blessings to his family, peace to his family. 88 years old, a giant on the court, legend on the court, and a giant off the court in his fight to make things right for those who may be less fortunate, especially when it comes to civil rights. So I wanted to give a shout out to that because Curtis brought it up. So Pat, hold on. We'll bring that into the conversation in a moment. But Mason, my bad, man. We had a couple thoughts here. Let me give you the first one. C.J. Watson said, "I will bring Amari Cooper and Devontae Smith back. I think that would make life grand for Jalen Milroe. Add to that a healthy running back room. You have athletic quarterback, unstoppable wide receivers, versatile running backs, capable tight end. That team could beat you any way it wanted to." Thoughts on those 2 guys as a fair swap in the Mind Wrecker Monday question?
That's a fine answer. It is. I think those 2 players would bring a lot to the table. But, Martin, call me crazy. There is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. There is not a soul I am replacing for Bryce Young.
You tell me to say, do what now?
He is the best. I mean, not even a question about it. He is the best quarterback I have ever seen in the Alabama uniform. And there's no one that can replace him from. I mean, he brings so much to the table. There's no one that can replace what he does. We saw. I mean, I've seen a lot of people mention, bringing Tua back or bringing a receiver back or maybe bringing another. But Bryce Young does the best of what all of Alabama's best quarterbacks can do. He brings the best of what Jalen Hurts could do. He brings the best of what Tua could do. He brings the best of what even like a guy like AJ McCarron could do back. And he just does so much. There is no one that I could justifiably replace him with.
You do bring up a great point. He literally does everything that that all of our best quarterbacks. He runs as well as Jalen. He just don't run as much. He passes. He has as pretty a pass as Tua. He's as smart as Mac Jones. He takes what's there as well as AJ McCarron did. So in that sense, I mean, you're right. Of course, Jonathan Wilburn said he would go outside of the Saban era and bring back either Bart Starr or Joe Namath. So he's saying he's not giving up Bryce unless he gets a guy that's a legend in that same position. So, Curtis Lewis has an interesting take. He said Jalen Hurts and Brian Robinson, and I'll throw in Slade Bolden for a bag of peanuts. I'm not sure if Curtis is just taking a jab at Slade Bolden or what, but interesting combination. What's your thoughts on those guys real quick before we get to break here?
Yeah, no, you couldn't pay me enough money to get Slade Bolden back on this team.
Oh my goodness. Let's go to break here. We got CJ Watson said, I want championships, and Bryce has a Heisman, but how many championships has he QB'd? So CJ, CJ thinks that we can win with less talent, because right now, to CJ's point, the most talented, top two talented, not execution-wise, talented quarterbacks in the Nick Saban era would be who? Tua and Bryce Young. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're the only two to lose in a national championship game. So there's a thought there. So we'll pick the conversation back up on the other side. Pat, we'll let you get in. I know you want to talk recruiting, but we're trying to get this conversation wrapped up here. So we'll work in and then get off that topic pretty quick. But if you want to get in on it, hey, let us know. For those of you who are talking about the championships, we're gonna kick that can to tomorrow and talk about which teams are most disappointing when we come back on tomorrow. But for now, let's wrap up this Mind Wrecker Monday question. What two players would you trade for Bryce Young?
Traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a wreck on US 11 northbound just past Hagler Coaling Road with minor delays. Everything else appears to be moving well. If you see conditions, of course, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Brand new month, brand new deals, great savings at your hometown dealer. Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa, and I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. School bells ring in a matter of days here in West Alabama. COVID-19 cases continue to increase here and across the state. Alabama Department of Public Health's Dr. Wes Stubberfield is giving parents guidance on masking as students head back to the classroom. He says it is a personal choice, but reminds that children are not immune to the virus. Schools will begin opening next week here in West Alabama. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. I'm Don Hart.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Are you sick and tired of that constant pain in your knees or hips or back, especially this time of year? You need to be moving pain-free. Hey, it's Gary Harris for the team at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people here every day, giving them lasting pain relief using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The science is simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing damaged tissue with no drugs, no steroids, and no surgery. Listen, the old remedies for pain are not the only remedies. You need to learn more about how regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can change your life. Make this the last summer you suffer from chronic pain. They've got clinics here and all over America. This is the exciting new natural way to deal with joint pain with no side effects and no downtime. Call QC Kinetics now. It's a totally free consultation and 2 convenient locations, Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Call 205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941, 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
If it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
All right, let's get Pat in. Pat, you're in with the Martin Hughes Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, man, I wouldn't want Bryce to be anywhere else either, but with Stabler and Smitty, we could still win a national title. And his ability to run was incredible. The run in the mud, they got a picture about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we've had great quarterbacks that with the right wide receivers, hey, we could still win titles. But anyway, hey, but what I wanted to talk about is X with you this morning? I hadn't heard him.
No, he's not on this morning. But go ahead with your question real quick.
Well, my question was Keon Keeley. We've got the number one JUCO wide receiver, the number one JUCO middle linebacker, and we've got the top 2 running backs in the country. That and to add to this, the number one edge in the whole country. Man, Coach Saban is just absolutely killing it.
If he gets Keon Keeley, that would be a huge get for a couple reasons. One is it would be a dagger for Notre Dame and their first-year head coach. And, you know, this guy is 6'5", 240. I mean, he seems to be the complete player, so it'd be a big get.
Yeah, they say he's Myles Garrett reincarnated.
And that's the build. 6'5", 240, play in a 2-point, play in a 3-point, fast, quick, everything. They showed some highlights of him from when he played against Arch Manning. Arch didn't like him.
No, Arch didn't like him. But, all right, enough said, Martin. Good job.
All right.
Have a blessed day. You're doing a great job this morning, enjoying the show.
Appreciate you, Pat. All right, let's go back here. We have a couple people on Twitter giving us a few options there of guys that they would take. Chad Smith saying Tua and Waddle. Not a bad combo there. I thought this was interesting. One guy, Jacob Taylor, went with defense, Jonathan Allen and Quinnen Williams. We just gonna smother you. You add those two guys to this defense, you may not have to score, but a field goal to win. Then he said Landon Dickerson and Jonah Williams. I was a big Landon Dickerson fan. I love the way he played the game. Not so much on Jonah Williams, but the NFL guys liked him a lot. But I would not, of all the people, Jonah Williams would be the last of the great Alabama offensive linemen that I would take that's been a tackle in the first round. But that I'm not knocking him. He was not one of my favorite players. Evan Neal and Barrett Jones by Greg from Alabaster. I feel the same way about Barrett Jones. Really special player here, but I don't think he was the most decorated, and I'm not knocking him, but I wouldn't take him over several other Alabama offensive linemen. Tua and Devontae Smith was another one. Minka Fitzpatrick and Patrick Surtain, two other guys. So interesting combinations there. Mason, who would your guy be?
Oh man, it's
if you had two guys, let me tell you. I probably would take. I would take a Julio Jones in this era, Mason. Bring him back to this era, and I would take A.J. McCarron back in this era, because I think A.J. McCarron, if he was playing in today's game, him and Bryce, I think A.J. McCarron could win a Heisman in today's game, and I think Julio Jones would win a Heisman in today's game. They would be tough to stop.
I'm with you on Julio. I don't know if I buy into AJ as much.
But look what AJ did when is AJ? You think Mac Jones is better than AJ?
No, but I think Mac Jones had a better cast around him, so he looked better.
That's what I'm saying that's why I said in this era. Not that I'm saying if you brought AJ into the era where they're throwing the ball, where Alabama is recruiting, you put Julio Jones on this team. You have the running backs you have on this team. Yeah, I think Mac Jones definitely had a better cast around him, without a doubt. And I think if you gave AJ Tua's cast, Mac Jones cast, or Jalen's cast to receivers and running backs, AJ probably wins the Heisman. That'd be my two guys. At least that'd be two of the guys I would throw out there. I might have some more. We'll get X's thoughts on it tomorrow. Mason, man, thanks for that basketball update today. You kind of got folks, I think, really excited about it and about what's going to happen in basketball. And C.J. Watson throwing one in there. If you pull outside the Saban era, I'd take Zal and Smitty. And he said, mainly because I love Zal and think he'd be great in this era. Hey, listen, we'll be back tomorrow for more great conversation. Don't forget to follow at MartinHouston35 on Twitter so you can get these mind record questions as well as the question of the day. Go check it out. Which team most disappointed and frustrated from the Saban era that did not win a title? I'm Martin Houston. That's Mason Woods pressing all the right buttons right here on your home for Alabama sports. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.